All right, I think we're back. Let me just do a couple checks. Check, check. All right, I think we're back. Awesome. Well, welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Sorry about the live stream issues. I thought I had the new crop thing figured out. I screwed it up twice, but now I have it. So I just had it on the wrong input source, and for whatever reason, the screen was black. Then it was overcropped, but now we are here. So let's get into it. We want to take a look at Bitcoin and all things crypto today. Let's start off with Bitcoin, shall we? And on Bitcoin, on the daily, you can see here there's a couple important things happening. One, we have this upward ascending trend line. We've been having higher lows, at least for a bit, and we've broken underneath that trend line. And now slightly lower lows. At least for the stochastic RSI on the daily, it's bottoming. It may bottom a little longer though. You can see things can still go down a bit based on when it hits there. But Bitcoin is also at the 200-day moving average. It is still holding on to it, so this isn't the end of the world yet. We also have this descending channel that we've been talking about since March that Bitcoin has been in here. Lower highs, lower lows. And if Bitcoin is to go down deeper, I would be eyeing somewhere around the 54,000 range. And as well as the 786 fib here at 50K. If we zoom out on the weekly, what else is popping up is the 50-week moving average right here. You can see that. I believe this is EMA. I like the EMAs, at least for more macro investment outlook. So this is coming in line with the descending channel, the 50-week moving average. And should Bitcoin continue to be bearish, maybe it'll come back down here, and I don't think that'd be the end of the world. Might create some good opportunities to budget in some more money into some good altcoin plays. So I can see we have a few more viewers popping in. Welcome to everybody. If you'd like, please feel free to type below where you're viewing from or what crypto asset you are most interested in. Again, here at Market Psychology, we look for value in the markets when there's fear. In the stock market right now, there isn't fear. It's greed. See that for both. And yeah, crypto, we have fear right now. So maybe there's some opportunities where there's fear. But we want to be cautious when there's greed. I do wonder if the stock market is front-running crypto a little bit. So we'll see about that. But right now, crypto, we are still in fear. We got up a little bit not too long ago. Last month was in greed. You can see here we had this little blip into the neutral territory. But overall, fear and greed, sometimes it's a one-to-one indicator. Sometimes it's a leading or lagging indicator. And we have been in this downward trend, lower highs, lower lows from greed to fear. But now we are making higher lows. We still have lower highs, and a lower low could still come in. That's still on the table. However, if you want to make a case for a possible reversal, you can say, well, we have higher lows. That's step one. We had higher lows before, and then went sideways and down. So you want to wait for confirmation on that. If we zoom way out, you can see that overall, when Bitcoin has been bottoming down here, that we do have some very powerful moves that come after. March 2020, I mean, sure, a lot of people wish they would have bought that. So Another thing to look for in fear and greed, whenever we spike down or spike up and don't stay there for a while, the price will be very volatile. But when we accumulate down in fear or up in greed, I tend to see a little bit more coming in that sort of price action. So if we accumulate up in greed, we tend to see better prices overall. And likewise, if we accumulate in fear, that has shown us that that's a good time to buy as well. The Bitcoin dominance cycle, what's really important to know when we look at Bitcoin dominance is that when Bitcoin dominance goes up, that's not great for our alts. And when it goes down, Bitcoin dominance, or the altcoins tend to go sideways or up. Overall, alt season, we have been in this uptrend, which is curious because some of these alts haven't been looking great lately. But what I think, after we had that 30% sell-off in Bitcoin, this one right here, when the altcoins bottomed here, let me go back to that. That was here. That was at this point on the line. And the altcoins have had, at least some of the major ones, have had a nice recovery, somewhere around 10, 20%. So I've seen altcoins have a nice little bounce. And right now, alt season wise, we're still making higher lows, higher highs. So I don't feel too bad about that. And as far as the Bitcoin rainbow chart, which I do videos on every week, Mondays typically. Next week will probably be Tuesday because Labor Day. You can see we've just been scraping the upper edges of this accumulate zone. And should it get lower, let's take a look at this teal box here. Let's say that Bitcoin gets lower in time for the rate cuts that the Fed's going to do, whether it's 50 basis points or probably 25 basis points. You can see in that third box from the bottom, that teal box, that it has a range of 46 to 60,000. When we go to the chart here, 46 to 60,000, well here, first of all, is 46. You can see that right there. That's the 100-week moving average. And we do have price action back here. I think that would be a really, really good value time to buy in. 60,000 would be, well, right where we're at, which is in the middle of this channel roughly. A lot of price action. But speaking of that 100-week moving average, let's take a look at last cycle and see some of the similarities. So the 100-week moving average, Bitcoin came down to it after its mid-cycle top. We just had a mid-cycle top in March when Bitcoin made a new all-time high, 74,000. As you can see, I wrote down first rate cuts. The Fed cut rates right at this orange line in June of 2019, and Bitcoin was a little bearish for a while, like half a year or so. Actually, more than that, like almost a whole year. It was just sideways at this price. Are we going to get that? I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. What does matter is, by the way, these red circles are all 30% drops. We just had one, the first 30% drop in a long time, and the first 30% drop since the start of this bull run. But as you can see, this came down to the 100-week moving average. Now, I don't count this quite because that was a black swan event. COVID, of course, that took Bitcoin all the way down to the 200-week moving average and even lower. So unless there's some big war scare or something random that pops up, I'm not really considering something like this, but just making a comparison from 2019 till now, that light blue line, that's the 100-week moving average. That's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. And if it gets there, I'm going to feel really good about getting in at deeper values. I don't mind where some of the altcoins are right now, and I'm going to be taking a look at many altcoins today, as well as Bitcoin mining stocks, see if we have good value. So for myself personally, this is not financial advice for any of you, but I have a monthly budget. And when the price of any stock, crypto meets my conditions, my buying conditions, I will budget in or dollar cost average in if it's within the buying range of what I look for. That is how I go about it. You guys do you. We have a comment. Mr. Bliss Chillin', thanks for the vid. You're welcome, man. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for the comment. So hope to bring you some good content today. I try to every day. I'm doing this for free. I'm doing this for myself, you guys, and seeing if I can share anything that's benefited me since 2017 and the 2021 bull market cycles for people who might be new to crypto, because I talk to people about crypto, and for people that haven't invested, it can be kind of an intimidating and scary place to put your money. And I also have friends that have only put money in the crypto near the tops of 2021 or 2017 and have been left holding bags for a while or selling at a loss. I did not have to do that, and I don't want other people to go through that because I don't like to see my friends go through that. So that's why we're talking about this right now. And I'll tell you guys, even though there's only, from what I see, 6 people watching right now, if we get another alt season like we did here and like we did in 2017, there will be a lot more people watching, and there will be a lot more people buying at that time. You guys are here during the boring, sad, fearful times. You guys are here during the times that is best, in my opinion, to buy and dollar cost average in. So if you have any requests for certain altcoins, Bitcoin mining stocks, comment those below. Otherwise, I'm just going to get into it here. So Bitcoin dominance, as we talked about this chart here, how when dominance goes up, it's not so great for alts, and vice versa. Dominance goes down, alts can tend to do pretty good during that time. What's going on right now? Well, Bitcoin dominance is going up. And there's a couple trend lines I have drawn here. One from the 2017 top, hit the 2020 top, it's come down, and we've surpassed that. And then 2, we had this dip right back here, and I thought there was some price action, if you will. It's not a perfect trend line, but I saw the convergence here. And you know what's curious about this, guys? Any of you that have been watching this for a while, I've had these 2 trend lines here for a while. And where is Bitcoin dominance crossing? Right where those 2 meet. So I could have told you or made a prediction. I didn't, but it's just funny how it worked out. And on August 24th or August 12th of 2024, Bitcoin dominance would start getting into this range. And that's what's happened. So it's funny. That's why we do trend lines. Sometimes good coincidences like that happen. But you can see Bitcoin can get, or dominance can get as high as 61, 62%. If you're new to this, what this means is 57% of all money that's in crypto is in Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin dominance has fallen in the span of 1, 2, let's zoom in, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, we had 4 weeks of alt season where altcoins were going 10x, 20x, if you were in the right alts. No guarantee that you would be. And then here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had almost 2 months in May, April of 21, where altcoins were going up 10, 20x. And so my base case is for dominance to get up here and then maybe get as high as 62%. As you can see, dominance has made a lower high from 2017 and 21. And so maybe this is as high as it gets. Maybe it gets up to 62%. I like 62% because of some other price action here. I think it gives us a range. We don't, guys, anytime you're looking at investing or trade vesting, especially with crypto, you don't have to be 100% right. But if we get up there, I'm going to say, okay, for me, I think that's go time. And as far as Tether dominance, now Tether, if you don't know, is a stable coin. Tether is always a value of 1. And when the market is doing great, tether dominance has come down to this trend line that has signaled different tops from the 2017 top, the 2019 mid-cycle top, the top before COVID, the double top, and the pre-halving top we just had. I'll show you where those are. So when it hit that line, that was this peak, this peak, this peak here before COVID, the double top, and then this one right here. That is what tether dominance is showing. When crypto prices go down and we get more volatile price action, people convert their crypto, their Bitcoin, to tether because tether retains its value. That's something you might look into doing anytime we're up here. But do know that we can stay in the tether dominance for a while and you might miss out on some gains. But maybe if you're wanting to stay in crypto, you get whatever altcoin, Bitcoin gains here, and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to convert to tether, keep my value, and then you see it go down, and as it starts to, or go up, and when tether dominance goes down, then you look at it differently. Okay, let's move on to Ethereum. Let's see what Ethereum is doing. So we have this Fibonacci retracement drawn out. It looks like it's on a log scale, yep. And, oh, I just didn't have trading view on the log. This fib retracement is drawn from the prior high to the prior low, and on the fibs we can see everything in between, and right now it is retraced back to the 618. So from the very top it is retraced 38.2%. We could flip the fib and it'd be this right here. So right now this looks fine to me as far as Ethereum. I also like how it's at the 100-week moving average. Now it did get rejected off the 50. We do have these 2 bits of support. If it comes down underneath there, we have this trend line that Ethereum has been making higher lows on. That's important, and it is really close to the 0.5 fib and this dark blue line that's squiggly. That's the 200-week moving average. So in the most bearish case, if Ethereum got down to the 2,000 to 21, I'll even say 2,200 level, I would be pretty big on Ethereum right there. Again, you can wait for a price action to confirm, but I think it would be a pretty good place to buy. All right, let's take a look at Solana. We'll do Solana, Doge, XRP, some of the big ones. So Solana, obviously our fib is off log scale because we are looking at higher price targets. That's how you do that. Solana is still above the 786, holding up really well. Now I've seen charts like this that stay up really high and all of a sudden they have one big move down, and I could possibly see $70 Solana. We also have this 100-week moving average and some price action. $100 Solana to me in a bearish situation seems more likely, but last time we had that big sell-off, hit the 76, the 50-week moving average, came back up. We have these dojis, so maybe it's getting ready to tag this again. And if so, that'd be a good area to look for. Otherwise, the all-time high in Solana was 260, and that's what we would be looking for next. Let's take a look at XRP. And XRP still underneath the 382 fib. Okay, it is staying above the moving averages. That's good, but it needs to get above and stay above this fib. It has not done so yet, and so I would not be surprised. See a rejection back down to somewhere in this 53 cent range, and if it broke underneath that, yes, it could get as bad as 45 cents. And before any XRP people bite my head off, because people think I'm an XRP hater because I don't believe it'll have a market cap 5 times the global GDP. It's not me hating on XRP, it's just being a realist. But we got to this price not too long ago. And as you can see, even when XRP was between the 0.5 fib and the 382, it was still breaking down, coming back down to the trend lines. But ever since it got or the moving averages, but ever since it got under the moving averages, it just hasn't looked as strong as it was up here. Okay, so I would be eyeing, if you like XRP and we're willing to be patient, I'd be eyeing 45 cents. Next, let's take a look at Doge. And Doge is at the 236. So even deeper value. Now, all because a stock or crypto has deep value and a chart like this does not mean it is time to buy in. There's a reason it has quote unquote deeper value, and that's because not as many people are buying it. It's just slowly bleeding out. And right now, Doge just not looking good, but it is holding on to the 200 and the 236. So this 9.3 cent level to the 9.7 cent level, deeper value there, but it's right now battling the 100-week moving average at around 10.7 cents. So if it gets above that, yes, we can be bullish, but if it comes down to this red fib line and you really like Doge, hey, I like Doge at that level too. If I was a big Doge maxi, I'd be looking at that. But there's no denying this is going down pretty sharply. And if it did get under the 236, then you take a look sideways where there's some common price action. And you can see a little base here, points here, a little bit of candle body spikes here. I would be looking for Doge at around 8.2 cents in the most bearish scenario. So let's move on from Doge. Let's go to Chainlink. Okay, Chainlink, kind of similar to Doge. Came off the 236, wicked up to the 100-week moving average. Now it is following this trend line still. You can see these higher lows. Hasn't broken quite underneath that consistently. But if it gets rejected here, I could see Chainlink, because there isn't a lot holding it up in these areas. And if it gets off this ascending trend line, I would not be surprised to see Link get down to $8.60. So I like Link. I might put in a buy order at that price and see if it happens. It may or may not. Fetch.ai, that's one that, man, if you would have gotten in on this one at around 6 cents or 9 cents, did really well. Got all the way up to 350. I mean, that's crazy, especially from November 22 to March, so a year and a half. And right now, it's just been making lower highs. Did get back above its all-time high that it made in September 21 at around $1.23. But it's at the 50-week moving average. So if it isn't able to stay above this, I do think a lower low could be in play. And there's price action here. So Fetch might get down to this 61.5 cent level. And I think that wouldn't be a bad area for Fetch. Let's see, are there any others? Maybe we could look at ICP and Jasmine quick. ICP, some higher lows, so that's promising. I don't hate ICP here. Let's throw on, I'm sure this will give a buy signal. Yep, we have a weekly buy signal on ICP, but do know indicators aren't everything, but I like when we get buy signals if they're going down for a while. What I'm curious about is the stochastic RSI and what that says. So the stochastic RSI, as you can see right here, it is flipping positive. I do like when that happens, so possible decent time for ICP. Let's just run back through a couple of these. Fetch, flipping positive. Now do know, again, indicators aren't 100%, so but these are some parts that I look for. And if you dollar cost average in, each time these things happen, hey, you don't have to know when the bottom is, but it does help dollar cost average at deeper value. Same here with Link. Let's go to Ethereum. Ethereum flipping positive there as well. But again, it could go, all because it's flipping positive doesn't mean it can't go lower, okay? Jasmine, why not? We'll take a look at that. Looks like it might flip. And also Jasmine getting some good support here from 18 to 19, or no, that's, 1.8 cents to 1.9 cents. So not a horrible spot for Jasmine here. But if Jasmine did break down, underneath all that support here. Then you can see Jasmine back to 0.9 pennies. So let's move to Bitcoin mining stocks. And as far as Bitcoin mining stocks, Marathon flipping positive here at a decent fib level. I kind of like Marathon where it's at right here. So it has a doji. That does mean undecided. We do have this descending trend line. Could Marathon come back down to somewhere like 13.5 bucks? I could see it because we are in this minor downtrend here. Otherwise, the way you could look at it is, well, you know, we have good fib support and we have these moving averages. I'm curious if the buy indicator would be flashing on this, and not yet. So if you wanted confirmation, one of those green dots, we don't have confirmation just quite. All right, let's take a look at Riot platforms. And Riot, I think we have to go here on the daily, and as you can see, there's this trend line and it broke back underneath there, and Riot came all the way back down to 7.5 bucks. It's holding this low right here, but we do have this descending trend line. It's possible Riot gets to the lower $7, like $7.20 to $7.15, somewhere in there. And of course, we have all these resistances now. But if it got bullish again, then you'd be looking at it getting back to 11 bucks. Next, Cypher mining. And Cypher broke underneath the fib, lost all these daily supports. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly, you can see, even though it broke the fib, that's just a candle wick. The candle body's still attached to the 50 and 100, and it's holding strong on that fib, even though the price is lower. It's possible this is a bottom here for Cypher. So Cypher possibly having a bottom at 351, but yeah, could it break down lower? Of course. And you could wait for confirmation on, you know, getting a buy signal, the stochastic RSI. We don't have confirmation of a buy signal, but stochastically, you know, we would still want to be patient here for a little bit. Curious what it would say about Mara, because that was, yeah, Mara just crossed positive. So possible dollar cost average opportunity there. Let's take a look at CleanSpark, another mining stock. This one's flipping positive, but it's got a couple bits of resistance at the 618 and the 50 moving average. If it can't get above there, then I'd be eyeing this 0.5 at 862 for CleanSpark. Let's take a look at just a couple more. Bit Digital, yeah, rejected again off that 200-week moving average. The stochastic is flipping positive. Okay, so maybe it's getting ready, but as you can see, this 0.5 fib and the 200-week moving average have both been very strong resistances for Bit Digital, and we are here once again. So I myself, like even with the stochastic flipping positive and a buy signal, I wouldn't necessarily buy at a point like this. Even if it went higher, I would have rather been getting in at these lower areas where it already fell off. So when we start to get higher and these things happen, I don't feel as strongly about dollar cost averaging in, or at least not with as much money as, you know, as it could have deeper value from where it's at. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. And Bitfarms holding on to that trend line. Okay, we've seen this story in a few other cryptos. Higher lows, has support instead of resistance from the trend line and these moving averages. And right now the candle body's on the trend line. So if it can stay there, great. But if it starts to break down and these moving averages become resistance, at 0.5 at the high $1 level would have to hold. Stochastic is flipping positive. You know, if you like Bitfarms, I think this one would be worth taking a shot at least at the current price. Do I think it could go lower? I do think it's possible, especially with the current state of the market. You just don't know, especially with rate cuts going on or going to happen. But I wouldn't want to be missing on these opportunities. Iris Energy hanging out at this 618 fib. and then it wicked up nicely off the 50-week moving average. Also has this upward ascending trend line, stochastic's flipping positive. So a lot of good things there. Would we have a buy signal? Probably not quite yet. But then again, do know if you wait for buy signals, you can miss 5 to 10% of the move. But for me, that's okay. I don't need to get the exact bottom. I think of the profits I make as a sandwich. So when we have a big sell-off, I don't need to buy down here. We never know where the bottom is. But if I wait for confirmation from the stochastic and a buy signal, even if I'm not getting down here, but I'm getting in, let's say here, I'm getting out not at the very top, but here, well, you still make 70, 60% of profits in the middle. I'm fine with that. So that's just what I like to do. If you guys have another way you like to do it, please comment below. And then lastly, for miners, let's take a look at cores. I need to go back and see who commented about cores because they made a good call. And cores is not one I would be getting in personally. It does have a market cap that's already decently high. And I think of charts as the one competitive advantage we can get. And right now we don't have a competitive advantage too much with the charts. So yes, we can draw fib from the high to the low at a nice 382 retracement. Not a lot looking bad about cores, but it does have to get past that area of 12. Now, if you've done the research on cores and you like a lot about it, then, dollar cost average in. And by the time we get an alt season, a lot of these Bitcoin miners act like altcoins and tend to do pretty well. And the reason I really like Bitcoin miners so much is because in 2017, there were not as many altcoins as there are today. 2021, there were more altcoins, but still not as many as today. There are only so many Bitcoin miners, and they follow the altcoin price action, and you can take a look at their financials, their balance sheet. And so 2017, very euphoric time. I think a lot of Bitcoin miners are looking pretty good as far as their balance sheets, or a few of them are. We've talked about them before. So again, not financial advice, but do your own research and take a look into that yourself. Something to note or revisit with the Fed talking about cutting rates. This is how the stock market typically reacts. We already had a 10% sell-off. Then you can see the stock market rallies into the rate cut, has a little correction. This is just on average. And then this is how many days. And within a couple months, we tend to get a pretty good idea on if the market's going to continue being bullish or bearish. If they do 50 basis point cuts, this would be my guess. But if they do 25 basis point cuts, this would be my guess. So if the Fed does indeed cut rates, don't be surprised to see another little dip, maybe higher low from that big 10% flash crash down we had before. But if it starts to continue higher within a month or two, challenging the former all-time highs, I think we might be good for a while. And another good chart to look at is this one right here. And that just proves my point. When the Fed's cutting large and fast, 50 basis point cuts, then the near future tends to not be so good. But as far as 2019 and 1998, people knew we were in a bubble, and they did a 25 basis point cut, and prices didn't go down for a while. Now, third year it says up 3%. It was really after 2 years. So do we have another 2 years bullish in the market? I don't know. I'd say 1 to 2 is how I'm feeling about it right now. But as they say, the markets can remain irrational longer than someone can remain solvent. So take from that what you will. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate all of you coming over for the live stream, or if you're watching a replay, appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Take care.